So the big question is this: how do most agents who struggle to get the information that most successful agents hoard to themselves grow and prosper without this information? That's the big question, and this video cast is the answer. Welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. I'm your host, Pat Hiban. All right, Rockstar Nation, we have a great returning guest. I got Mr. Aaron Marshall on the show today, and Aaron and I think we met for the first time through the Elite REO network, where, you know, we were both banging out hundreds and hundreds of REOs, real estate owned properties from banks, every year as real estate agents with real estate teams. And he's kind of reincarnated himself a couple of times over the years. And I love how people have reincarnated themselves and changed things. I have a mentor, Dr. Fred Gross, who said you should reincarnate yourself several times in your lifetime. Aaron has proven to do that successfully over and over again. I know I've done that recently with starting my new companies and this podcast and Rebus University. And anyways, I'm inspired by him, and he's actually reincarnated himself now again into a big property management franchise company. And we're going to talk today about, you know, agents and how they can make more money in a horizontal aspect by doing property management and by investing in other things. Aaron's a big investor in real estate himself, and also understands and knows the business. So without further ado, let me welcome back Mr. Aaron Marshall to Real Estate Rockstars.
Hey, thank you, Pat. I appreciate that, and appreciate the opportunity to come on your show and come on it twice. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, Aaron, why don't you give everybody a little story on yourself so they can get to know you better?
You bet. I got into real estate just out of college back in 2001, literally the same week as September 11th happened back in 2001. Got into real estate, really just trying to find my niche there. Got into short sales and REOs the following year in 2002. And kind of rode that wave until about 06, 07, where I became bored again, started a property management division in 07. Then on 08 here in the Utah market, REOs started to come in. I positioned myself great for that. 08 was my best year financially, bringing as far as net income home, and better than 09, 2010, all those.
So that was your best income, and that was a hell of a year for most real estate agents. So let me stop you right there in the middle of your bio. How'd you make so much money in 2008 selling real estate where everybody else was losing?
I prepared myself in 07 for the REOs, and so when 08 hit, usually REOs, they tend to trail about 9 to 12 months. I could see that they were going to foreclosure in 07, but everything was just kind of in a holding pattern. Nothing really selling, nobody really buying. The main things that were foreclosing at that point, the first thing here were the spec homes. And so most of my REOs were the higher end, about $400,000 to $1 million, never been lived in, brand new. So I didn't have to do any trash out. I didn't have to do any evictions. Sold them. I got a full 3%, whereas an REO today, if you get 1.5% to 2.5%, you're doing good. They've whittled us down on the percentage that the listing agent gets. So I was getting full 3%, and I only sold probably about 120, 125 that first year in 08. And then years prior to that, we were doing 25, 30 deals a month. So we were doing about 300 deals a year. And I made less because I had higher staff, higher operating costs, and lower commissions.
Wow.
So that was,
all right,
so that was in 08.
So you crushed it in 08. So keep going now. Now we're almost 10 years later now. So what have you been up to the last 10 years?
So in 2013, I got tired of doing BPOs, broker price opinions. I got tired of being a bank's bitch. And so I thought, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to offer it to sell for my
take this job and shove it, right? I mean, that's
exactly
what the banks make you do, right? They and then, like you said, they whittled down the the commission, and they demand such from the agents.
Oh yeah, and if you're not going to do it, I'm going to take all my business. I'm going to take it to your neighbor next door, and I'm sure he'll do the BPO and sell this REO for 1%, 1.5%. And I was done with it. Sold it to a couple of employees of mine that had been with me for about 5, 6 years. They still to this day have it. I still get referral fees from them. The last 2 months, I haven't got any referral fees because there hasn't been any REOs. It's only on the REOs.
So is that how you sold it? Just to get into some specifics, did you say, hey, just pay me 25% off the top, or what'd you do?
It's 30% for the first 2 years, 25% for the next year, and then 20% for the following 2 years. So for 5 years, I would get referral fees, and I capped it to a certain dollar amount.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's that's interesting because there is so little profit in REOs now. Just like you said, they're whittling down to one. They're whittling the commission way down. Then your guys got to pay you a referral fee on the top of that, and then somehow make a profit. It's probably starting to get real hard for them. And so have the REOs basically, gone away in the state of Utah now, or in your area? What's going on?
So they have a few. They've been keeping a half a dozen to a dozen REOs over the years, but right now is the fewest they've ever had. I think over the next 12, 18 months that trend is going to change, but it's going to take some time. Other things in the market may need to change as well, but I think as those things change, that will change and there'll be an increase. But you can't wait around for that. The market's great right now, and you've got to continue to do everything you can to make money today.
Yeah, and you got 5 years out of it. I think you should be happy with that. You got referral fees for 5 years. That's all you can really ask for to get, a lot of people walk away from this real estate business without without any sort of exit strategy, and just to be able to get 5 years of exit strategy is great. So, okay, so you move forward, you got rid of that. Then you started up this property management company, Key Renter, right?
Yeah, we actually we started the business as Premier Property Management or Premier Management. And then in 2011, we bought the name Key Renter from someone else that wasn't doing property management right. The state took it over. He was trying to give the state a hard time, and we ended up coming in and buying the assets. Part of the assets was the name. I liked the name. I wanted to expand our property management business more for us as corporate locations, going into some of the neighboring states, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Denver, Boise. Changed that idea and ended up doing franchising. And I love that. I love the process of help coaching and mentoring people to get into business, even if it's other realtors, to get into the business of property management and see how they can make the most of it and make some money out of it.
Well, let me ask you a general business question. And so you bought into this thing, right? And then all of a sudden you had a whole bunch of rental accounts, and you had your own before that, I suspect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. I started with 4. 2 of them were about 3 weeks delinquent, and I looked at a partner right at that point. He was an employee of mine. I looked at him. I'm like, we should maybe create our own property management division doing this, because I've got 2 tenants that are late, and so we looked at each other. Yeah, and we went back to the office and started putting something together. A couple weeks later, we got a wrong phone number that came in. My assistant's like, do we do property management? We're like, yep. It was the guys that own Budget Blinds. They had 4, and so those were our first clients.
Okay, cool. And then next thing you know, you're like, I'm going to build this out. And then you decided, hey, let me franchise this. Talk me a little bit through that process. How hard is it to franchise something? And how's it going with it?
Wow. If I knew now what I knew then in 2013 about the franchise business and about what I had to do, how much money I had to put into it, because I don't have any investors. The only investor is me. I've had to refinance my house, refinance investment properties that I own to be able to make this happen. It is a totally different business. Even though I know the real estate, I know property management business, it is totally different. Same thing with restaurant. You may know the restaurant business inside and out, but franchising is totally different. And so I didn't quite know that, and that's probably a good thing because I probably would have done something else or stuck with real estate investing, because in 2013 I was kind of in limbo and buying notes, doing a few note programs, helping a few buddies throughout the country. Figured out we were all kind of networking together, buying properties at the county steps, rehabbing a few, and I was looking for something that I could, a business that I could create that didn't need me in it, that I could duplicate across the country. With property management up to this point, I could be gone for a month, 2 months, and I didn't have to be at the office. I created it to where nobody knew who I was in the property management division. No tenant, no owner would call me and say, hey, I need to talk to Aaron, because they didn't know who Aaron was. I was too busy doing the REO thing and doing that. And so I wanted to do something similar to that. I was tired of being the yo-yo on the real estate side with clients, with the banks, and I wanted to build something behind the scenes that I could kind of go on vacation when I wanted to, and my phone wouldn't ring from clients. They rang. I mean, I just got back 3 weeks ago from a 3-week vacation. Nice. Guatemala, Costa Rica. Loved it. I still had my phone on, but the only calls I was taking were from my assistants, from staff here, answering a simple question here and there. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I wasn't taking calls from the banks.
You're not beholden, right? You're not beholden.
Exactly.
Right. I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox, and it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. And you could, yeah. And at the end of the day, you know, when people rent a house, it's very unlikely that people want to talk to the landlord, quote unquote, right? You know, they will talk to a property management. They don't even know who the landlord is. I have tons of properties, and you know, nobody knows it's me that owns them, right? They never call and say, I want to talk to the landlord. They just want to talk to the property management company, which happens to be whoever picks up the phone, right?
Yep. At the end of the day, owners, they want you to be able to manage their property better than anybody else. That's why they're hiring you. They want good customer service. If they call and they want to ask about their property, pick up the phone. Tenants, they want maintenance requests to be fulfilled. They want to be able to, not all of them, but they want to be able to call or email and get a response. That's all it is, having staff there at the office to be able to respond to those things. Half of that you can outsource out. So we manage about 400 properties, and we have 4 property managers here, 1 maintenance person. A lot of the small nitty-gritty things we outsource out to third-party companies throughout the country that manage those things. We try not.
Like what?
So maintenance, especially the nighttime maintenance, nighttime and weekends.
You outsource maintenance?
Yes.
How?
So,
like, what do
so
you
if you call it the worst thing, and that's probably most of the people listening, they're like, I'm never going to do property management because I'm going to be gone. Yeah. Thanksgiving Day, I'm going to be with my family, and I just know I'm going to get the flooded toilet call.
Yeah.
Well, outsource that. There's a company in Colorado, just outside of Denver, that takes all of those calls for us.
What are they called?
Night tenders.
Night what?
They're night tenders.
Night tenders.
Yep, just Google it. Excellent, excellent company. There
And then
are
the night
probably 3 or
tenders,
4 others. I've
and
used those.
and then what do? They basically just find a plumber, arrange it, and
Nope. Nope. So say your garbage say your dishwasher is not working.
Yep.
They'll go through and they have certain steps they're going to go through regarding the dishwasher. They're going to ask what's going on. Is it leaking water? Is it draining properly? What stopped working? There's going to be some trouble. It's just a small amount of troubleshooting.
Troubleshooting. Yeah.
A dishwasher, as long as it's not leaking, they're going to go, hey, thank you for the call. We're going to put in a maintenance or request. Somebody with Key Renter is going to be giving you a call Monday morning to dispatch somebody. They're not going to dispatch somebody when it's Friday night at 8 p.m. because it's a dishwasher. It's not leaking. Why spend the time and the cost to send somebody out? They're going to know to do that. A garbage disposal. They're going to try to reset the garbage disposal. But that, again, is not a weekend maintenance call. If it's AC and it's 85 degrees, 88 degrees inside the house, they're going to dispatch maintenance. So they go through, you decide who the 3 vendors are going to be. Vendor number 1, ABC HVAC. The second one, another HVAC. If they can't get a hold of number 1 and number 2, which are your vendors that you've chosen, and you don't have a number 3, you become number 3. So you want kind of your 3 best vendors there, and they're going to call and dispatch those vendors for you. You get an email and a text letting you know, oh, I've got an issue. So you'll know that, and you'll get all the communication back and forth. They're going to continue to follow up.
That's pretty cool. Now, what do you have to pay for that?
You pay per property. Usually, I believe it is $100, $200 minimum. For us, we manage about 400 properties, and we pay about $575 a month. Which, at the end of the day, that's only nights and weekends. That's not full time.
$575. What does that mean?
$575 a month
for 400 houses.
400 houses. You pay per property.
So it's minimal. It's a couple bucks.
Couple bucks.
Yeah, it's $1. Basically, it's $1.50 a month per property.
If your staff, if anybody's listening, they have a property management company, I can guarantee on Christmas, on New Year's, on Thanksgiving, you always get a call.
That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. $2 a month. I mean,
and your spouse hates property management because you're on the phone during dinner or you're on the phone during the New Year's party, and it happens every time. Well, don't be subject to that phone and those maintenance calls. Outsource that. So that's one of the things we outsource. One of the other things, real quick, we outsource all the tenant calls. If you're a tenant calling us wanting basic information regarding a property that we have for lease, you talk to somebody in the Philippines. There's a third-party company out there. They have a company in the Philippines. They have all of our properties online.
What's that called?
Virtually Incredible.
Virtually Incredible. And
Yep.
Does Virtually Incredible specialize in property management and real estate in the United States, or?
Yeah, he has an office actually just outside of West Palm Beach, Florida. He's had that office for about 25 years. Later on in his career, he ended up marrying a Filipino and starting a Philippine business there. You cannot own, somebody here in the U.S. or outside of the Philippines cannot start and own a company and own it 100% out there. So his wife owns that. And they manage Virtually Incredible, and that's one of the things that they do. They do a few other things, such as processing applications that come in and a few other things. But taking those little things that take so much time and effort for your staff in your office, outsource those. So at the end of the day, you can focus on what's most important. And the thing that's most important is your current tenants and your current owners. Have a relationship with those current tenants and owners, and the other little things that don't really matter but help bring everything together, try to outsource those little pieces.
Wow. So, majority of our listeners, I believe, are, or at least say 70% of them are real estate agents. I think the other 30% are real estate investors or people interested in real estate in one way, shape, or form. And you've helped some real estate agents, create an additional stream of income through property management that where these things didn't exist before. And the benefit to a franchise is that you can just, it's a system that's already done that you beat your head up against the wall for years trying to make perfect. And you spent your money trying to make perfect, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. And I think you have an example of an agent in Florida, right? That basically took this, a brand new agent, basically took your concept and created a passive income vehicle. It's going to help her in her retirement in the future. Tell the story on that.
So that's actually in Fairfield, California.
Okay.
So yeah, Nicole, she's 3 years in the business.
3 years. Wow.
Dynamite girl. If you want to, I mean, she is a hustler. Dynamite girl. Last year she closed about 92 million in sales. This year, well over 100. Last month, so the month of July, they closed 52 deals. The team did. And so she's dynamite. Her team is dynamite. They just barely left Remax, but she knew that she needed another piece. She's trying to build this real estate empire, and she wants nothing to do with property management, but she knows that property management is going to help her build her real estate empire. And how that's going to help build that is an investor comes in, she can help that investor buy something, but after that, she's kind of lost them, because it's going off to another company and she's not making any money.
Right.
That other company says, oh, we'll bring, when that investor sells, we'll bring that back over to you. But that investor, that relationship kind of goes over to this other company. What if he wants to buy investment property number 2? Is that going to be with you, or is that going to be with him now? Don't know. With this, now that investment investor buys the property, it comes over to Key Renter. If that investor wants to buy investment property number 2, well, they know, oh, well, Nicole, the team lead, helped this investor buy it. All right, here, Nicole, this guy wants to buy investment property number 2, and continue to build that. If he wants to sell investor property number 1, sell that. Nicole's going to go back to sell that. But she's able to continue to make revenue month after month after month from these investors. And then when they go to sell, she's able to get that commission. It solidifies that relationship. In real estate, it's all about the relationship. In property management, it's all about the relationship.
Right.
Keep that relationship.
And it only makes sense that would be an affiliate business that you have. Because once you open your mind to it, you're going to have many opportunities to send people to your own company.
Oh yeah, so for 5 years we had an excellent sales rep that only brought on properties for us. It was probably year number 4, year number 3. He comes to me. He's like, Aaron, I get these people that they don't really want to buy, or sorry, they don't want to sell. They really don't want to rent. They just want to be done with the property. What can I do with these guys? And I'm like, here, let me chat with them. And so I chat with them, and the next thing he knows, I own the property, and I got a renter going in a couple weeks later. And he's like, well, what are you doing with these? Oh, well, I just did seller financing. I gave him a couple $1,000s for the deed, and they still have the loan in their name, or I did an all-inclusive, a contract for deed or all-inclusive, one or the other. But seller financing, and right now I just sold 2 of them last month. I'm closing another one next week. Of those, I'm getting $60,000 to $75,000 each from those, which they cost me a couple $1,000s, and then my company managed them for free. So for me, since I own the property management company, I don't want to pay any property management fees. I pay all the others, but just not the management.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox. And it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now.
Yeah. Well, it only makes sense that it's a line of, there would be a line of income for an agent. And the cool part about having a franchise like yours is she could, Nicole could go and buy it and then hand it off to, a family member or a staff member and be like, here's the deal. Here's the box. Open up the box, read the book, create this, franchise, and let's start filling it up with, our investor clients. Let's start filling it up with any people that are short and can't sell, that want to rent. Let's just start filling it up, property, our own properties that we own, whatever the case may be.
So with Nicole, she wanted nothing to do with property management. I mean, she has a real estate machine. She doesn't want to slow down to do property management where she's making $150 a property. Where in reality she's making $10,000 to $25,000 a property. It just doesn't make financial sense there. And so she got her husband involved. He's been involved for the last 4 to 6 months. And now that's getting transferred over to a new assistant that is just going to be dedicated to property management. But they don't do a whole lot of advertising right now, and they're consistently bringing in properties month after month because of the existing relationships that they have. One good thing with us, we create the website for them, we do the online marketing for them, and so they don't have to think about it. And that's one thing that they do not want to do. We give them the CRM, set all of that up so they don't have to think about it. It's kind of a business in a box. And then on top of that, we do the weekly coaching to get the business up and going. And then once the business is up and going, we do the weekly coaching to get them up to 100 properties as soon as possible.
That's awesome. So you gave us some great outsourcing tips here as well. Give me a third one. You gave us two. You gave us the virtual assistant company. You gave us the company that will answer the phone on Christmas Day. What's a third thing or application or software piece of advice that someone listening could take and run with?
So for us, the other big issue is showings. Going out, hiring a team member. If you're not in a leasing area where you can receive leasing commissions, for the state of Utah, we don't receive leasing commissions from other agents. It's about 60-40. So about 40% of the country, the markets throughout the country do not do that.
Never heard of that.
Denver just started it about 2 years ago.
Why? Why?
Well, the rentals.
Philosophy behind that the government would say you can't earn.
It's not the government. It's not the government. It's the MLSs. Like in Utah, you cannot put a rental on the MLS. Since it's not in the MLS, how it's not being offered like a real estate sale. So why?
Make any sense? What's the big deal?
It does a disservice to the consumer, to the tenant.
Absolutely.
But in those states so for us, we can't make anything on the showing side. If they don't rent this out, hey, here's another one across the street. I'll show you this property. At least they're going to get some rental commission. We don't go show our homes. It's a waste of time. And so we do lock boxes. So I would recommend Tenant Turner. Within Tenant Turner, it's a company in Richmond, Virginia. Within Tenant Turner, using the code box system. Code box is manufactured and created out of, I believe, Dallas, Texas. And so you can give them a code box, and that only works for about 30 to 45 minutes. Once they use that code, after that, that code is invalid, and they can no longer go into the property. And it lets us know that this person entered the property. We still have to go by and check, Before we give them a code, we want to get information from them. So we screen that we want a driver's license and like the last 4 digits of their social. We don't get all of that. We just like the banks, and then we ask a few questions. We'll ask them, hey, similar to the banks where they say, hey, I'm going to give you 3 addresses. Of these 3 addresses, which one have you lived at the last 10 years? We'll do the same thing. It costs us about 50 cents to $1 a pull for those, so that we can verify that they're really who they say they are. We have only had, actually, we've never had an issue in our market with it. We've had one issue in the Denver market where somebody took that and went and had a party one weekend.
Wow!
And we had an issue.
Driver's license or something?
I don't know if it was. They didn't do the verification that we did. So we kind of do a step further where we want the driver's license and we want the last 4 digits of the social. They don't do that. They do that now. But I would highly recommend using Tenant Turner. It can streamline the tenant process. And so not all of your calls go over to Virtually Incredible, but some of them get answered just an automated system within Tenant Turner. If they want to speak with a live person, then it goes right over to Virtually Incredible.
I mean, you're outsourcing physically showing to artificial intelligence, which is brilliant because it's such a waste of time to show rentals. What are you going to do? Here's the kitchen, here's the bathroom, whatever. And I heard of someone else, and it might be the same company, that will actually run your credit card for like $5 or $10, just to show that you're serious.
Yep. So for us, we do. There's another company out there, Rently, out of San Francisco.
Yeah, that's the one that does a credit card running.
That's $1. We used to use that method.
Charge you $1. Yeah.
Yep. So it would charge $1. But they never talked to anybody, and that was the system that we had a problem with in Denver. And so since he's using Tenant Turner now out of Richmond, Virginia, but I would highly recommend Tenant Turner. And then in Tenant Turner, they do the code boxes, which some MLSs across the country use code box. But would highly recommend that. They're probably on version 3, version 4. We've been with CodeBox for about 4 years and have absolutely loved them.
This is wow. Well, Aaron, this has been brilliant. I appreciate all the meat and potatoes you've given us here. I'm going to put links to all 3 of these hot tips for property management and renting on hibandigital.com/Aaron Marshall 2, the number 2. That's AARON Marshall and the number 2. Aaron, listen, if I'm ever out in Utah, I will look you up and we'll get together and break some bread, my brother.
Excellent. You're welcome anytime. I just one last thing. In all your emails, you want me to offer something for free.
Yes, please.
If they do want to get into property management and try to get leads that way, we have a website, rentvalues.com. If they want to try that out, normally it's 2 weeks. I'll give your listeners 4 months. Totally free. Try it out, see if they can get some leads that way to build their property management division. We continue to improve that, but if they like it, great. If not, they get 4 months absolutely free.
Oh, I appreciate that. Just put that on the show notes as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate it, and love to have you here in Utah. There's so much to do.
All right, buddy. Have a good day.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you for watching Real Estate Rockstars. Please give us a review wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening. We eat feedback for breakfast, and I don't care whether you give me a 1-star review or a 5-star review. I just want the review. I want to know what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Would love to improve things. Hey, and listen, please subscribe. The more subscribers we get and the more reviews we get, the better guests we'll get for you in the future. Feel free to reach out to me anywhere on social media. Just type in my name. I'm everywhere, and I look forward to meeting you in the digital world. Have a great day, and thanks again for listening to Real Estate Rockstars.